We had really high hopes for the garden this year, and I guess we have for the past couple of years now. And, you know, we started off this year, it wasn't great, but the way it's finished, I'm pleasantly surprised. I guess I should say I am pleased with how the garden turned out. What do you think?
Nah.
Meh? Okay, well.
I'm always hard on myself, so it's hard to go off that. I had some critter issues, and that really discouraged me because I was really got down on myself. I know the critter. I understand.
Critter? Okay, what do you mean critter?
Well, there was the issue of the goats.
Yeah. Got
in and ate a bunch of my lettuce. I needed that early success, and I went down to take a picture, and they had ravaged my lettuce patch. Too late. I was so sad. So I needed that early success to kind of push me, and that failed.
Yeah.
And then I had the broccoli, and the broccoli did great, and I was so happy about my broccoli. And then I had Brussels sprouts that were sprouting. Like, they were there.
The Brussels were sprouting.
Yeah, they were doing what they were supposed to do. And then the groundhog happened.
Yeah.
Now, the groundhog has since been dealt with. The cucumbers did great. I think a lot of their success was because of the accidental deep bed composting.
So let's stop there, take you back a little while. Last year with our beef cattle, we had some wily beef cattle. They were out on pasture for about an hour before they got loose. They were gone for a week, or not quite a week, I guess. And we got them back, and because they were so big when we got them, we just finished them out in the barn and said, we're done with this. They're not getting another chance. And that stall became way too much to deal with, and it got out of hand. But getting out of hand, turns out that we accidentally deep litter composted that barn stall, and the dirt that came out of that is fantastic. I mean, the best dirt on the farm by far. Pasture, garden, it's great. And so we moved that stuff into some of the garden beds as much as we could get done, and the tomatoes and the cucumbers in that dirt have flourished. It's great.
Now, I should have learned this lesson last year with my tomatoes, but I didn't. I keep trying with our garden beds. How wide are they?
4 feet, 3 feet.
3 or 4 feet wide. And I keep trying to plant tomatoes on both sides of the bed and then have like the middle open essentially. And both years I've done that, it turns into a tomato mess.
It's a jungle.
Yeah. We'll talk about future plans, how we're going to correct some of the issues we've had.
Everything's a learning experience.
Yeah. And we are very much amateur gardeners. Yeah. We're trying. We learn each year.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with being green. Pun intended. Pun not intended. Pun. When it comes to anything that you're trying to do, you have to learn. Nobody starts out on second base. I mean, when you don't know anything, you go. So that's our philosophy. We just work. But anyway, more with this stuff. We have jalapenos.
Our jalapenos did really good.
And they're heatless jalapenos too. So one of us will actually eat them.
I'll eat them.
I'll eat anything. But
it's me this year.
Yeah. So the jalapenos have done really well, and we've had cucumbers. But really, I think as long as we can get the dirt in the ground, which has been the hardest thing that we've had to deal with so far, is our own just getting the dirt done.
Yeah.
As long as we can get that done, I think next year is going to be a great year.
Dirt is expensive to buy, so we've been trying to not cheap out, but trying to figure out how to fill the beds without just having to go buy $100, or it'd be more than that.
I mean, even when like a truck bed worth, when you buy it by the Bobcat scoop, skid steer, you know, like dump it in. It's, you know, around here $50 or $60 for topsoil. That topsoil is not good. So next time we're going to buy it with the compost already mixed in. It's a little more expensive. Buying it in bulk like that is much cheaper than trying to buy it by the bag. But even then, like, it's still a lot when you got to buy animal feed and regular person food.
And Bobcat
scoop.
There we go. That or a truck bed load doesn't even fill up one of our big beds. Like, you need multiple truck loads, and our beds aren't tall by no means.
No.
So trying to fill them in with, you know, some compost litter from I don't use the chicken I do not use chicken litter typically because it's just so hot. I do put the goat litter in there a lot of times.
And now that we have a rabbit, that's getting added in slowly too, which is fine.
Oh, Mr. Meatball.
Yeah, but our daughter named her rabbit Meatball. It's not a meat rabbit. Its objective here is not for meat, and yet she named it Meatball.
And so everyone asks us, is it meat or a pet?
Like, no, she could have named it Princess Little Piddle or something. And
I tried to convince her to name it Honeybee because it came from Heather Stone at Sage and
Stone Homestead.
Thank you. Because they have bees, and Riley knows they have bees. So I'm like, here, let's name it Honeybee. No, I tried Officer Hops from Zootopia because she's obsessed with that movie right now.
Just Meatball.
One of the other issues we've discovered with our garden was we were trying not to put landscape fabric down between our beds because neither one of us really like landscape fabric.
Yeah. I like it in theory.
Yeah.
But then you just end up having dirt on top of it.
And it
I don't know. The weeds in this thing have gotten out of control.
And they're not
grass everywhere.
And like the beds are pretty manageable if I would weed them more regularly. But
everything else, like, you can't run the mower between the beds because it just makes a big mess. And then you still have to get out and weed eat.
Yeah.
And I don't like grass tickling my ankles when I'm trying to be out here doing stuff. Like, it just drives me crazy. If I'm in the hayfield or in the goat pasture, you know, I just deal with it. It's fine. But if I'm just trying to walk around my yard, I like my yard cut pretty short. So if you're trying to weed and you got grass, every time you do it, it's tickling you.
Yep. So we have definitely agreed to do mulch between the beds. I'm going to try to get cardboard to put down.
Yeah. Because
the cardboard will disintegrate, help fertilize stuff. We put cardboard in some of the beds too. So I'm going to try to like go to Sam's and buy big flat boxes to put down and then mulch it or goat litter or something down because, I mean, y'all, it's bad.
Wild. And wild's okay, but
you know, the tomatoes got wild, and so you can't weed eat too close to the tomatoes. So yeah, I would lose Deacon if he got in a certain part of there. You wouldn't see him. But so we're gonna fix that.
I think we're gonna end up adding a few more beds. When we laid this thing out, we the way our land is set up, there's some water that comes down in a few places, and it would have been kind of a pain to, you know, if you put a bed there, but then every time it rains, you get a lot of runoff. But I think we figured it out enough now where we can add a few more beds, which, you know, again, that's a little bit more work. That's okay. I'm not building any new beds, by the way, until the ones that we have are filled up with dirt. I'm not adding any new ones until those get dirt. But I think we have a way we can add a few more, and, you know, we'll have a little bit more space, which is great because now that we're doing this, you know, we talked about we want to do pumpkins and we want to grow some more peppers, and the kids love the tomatoes, even though you and I really don't, but there are ways that we eat them where we can can them, or you can make salsa because you're making salsa that I like. You got to find the one she likes. Again, she finds a recipe that I like, but she doesn't like it. And so, yeah, we made some salsa, and I think it's great.
I found my cucumber salad that I could, someone told me I could probably can that and keep it on the shelf.
Yep.
I think it was Heather, actually. Tomato plan for next year is instead of doing tomatoes down both sides, I'm going to do tomatoes down the center, and I'm going to either use wood or something on the ends, and they will go, then a string will run across the top.
A lot of people use something like tobacco sticks for that, and I'm sure we can find some around here. This is a lot of tobacco growers, but people will use something like that. Basically just make a trellis system using string. People do it for pole beans too, which, you know, maybe we get into. But the string runs from end to end of the bed. And
then you run a string from the tomato plant up, and then as it grows, you like
tie it off.
Tie it off, yeah. I think that'll work better. And then I can still, on the outsides of those, on the edges, I can put onions, which I would love to do. I just forget to order them in time. That's a big issue I have.
Organization and planning.
Not my forte. Like, I'm got to remember September, I've got to order garlic because I will plant garlic this year.
It's going to happen. You're making it happen. You've been trying to do it for 2 years now.
2 years.
Yep.
I have the bed. I want to put the garlic in because it's a nice size for the garlic. I want to do it. But I'm also going to, you can do onions on the outside. I can put in basil on the outside of those tomatoes if I wanted to, because tomatoes and basil grow really well together. So we'll see. I'll do something on the edges, but I think that'll help with the tomato pile.
Yeah, because instead of having just this conglomeration
Bush.
of tomatoes,
Bush.
I have them in a nice even row with a good trellis system. We tried using a bamboo cage trellis system before. I don't know. We couldn't get it to really stay up, and because we have some bamboo that's invasive and kind of it's encroached on our place from where the neighbors before our neighbors now had it. I think they thought they were having a bamboo farm, which, sure, okay, that's all fine, but man, that stuff is crazy invasive, and they've cleaned it up off their place, but now we've got to clean it up on ours. Anyway, so the bamboo tomato cage didn't really work for us.
But I'm gonna get the garlic in the fall, so that's included in my fall garden.
Yep.
Also gonna do some lettuces in the fall. I've got 2 raised beds that we moved here from our old house.
Yep.
That I typically plant my lettuces in.
We built raised beds, added dirt to them, and then moved.
And planted in them.
Yeah, so do you want to talk? I had some very angry help when it came time to load those beds onto a trailer. They're not like full of dirt, they're about half full of dirt. They were not happy.
They hated the chicken coop more though.
Yeah, that was the longest day of my life by far.
Yeah. So definitely got to just keep pushing forward. Our broccoli did really good. Our peppers did really good. I want to add some stuff that we wanted to do, and I just don't have the bed space because the beds that did have dirt, I was very selective in what I wanted to plant. I wanted to plant stuff that I knew the kids would eat and would eat fresh. There's a bug. I wanted, that's the cucumbers. Reagan loves fresh cucumbers.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to make sure there was plenty of those. Riley will eat a whole cucumber in a day. Same with cherry tomatoes. So I was very selective on what I planted this year as far as what I had bed space available. Even though I have several beds, I just didn't have the soil for all of them. So once again, we're going to try this winter to push ourselves to make sure we're filling those, which the girls' goat stall is due for a big clean. So that will produce a lot of stuff. And my okra, you put that on a video where I put the cardboard down and planted the okra through the cardboard?
I don't think I ever did.
So I tried an experiment with my okra plants. I did okra in a raised bed, and because of the way okra grows, I'm like, I can do this in a garden really easy as long as I can get it tall enough so the weeds don't overtake it, because I'm terrible about weeding stuff. That's why I like raised beds. So I took cardboard, put the cardboard down, and then cut into it, and then planted the okra through the cardboard, and it worked amazingly. The soil stayed moister because the cardboard kept some of the sun off the direct soil. The okra had a chance to establish its roots before it got overtaken with weeds, and all I had to do was weed around the okra, which was nice, and it was quick.
Did I tell you about my plan for plums?
Oh no.
I'll tell you about that one off camera. So that's something she has to look forward to. I don't know if this will happen or not, but I have an idea. So we'll see.
My husband loves trees.
I do love trees.
He's obsessed with trees.
And I've got a couple that have died back here in our little orchard, so I've got to replace them.
I know.
And I have an idea. That's okay. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on our little, very quick garden chat, future planning thing. Like we've said, it's a steady work in progress, but that's okay. And if you're struggling with it too, you're not alone. And we're in it together. So thank you guys so much for being a part of what we do here on the channel. It really means the world to us that you're here.
There was a bug.
My name's Reagan.
I'm Megan.
This is Deacon. This is the GWP Homestead. See y'all soon.
Bye, guys.